make this screen a little bigger. So,
hey, you guys. So look what's going on. I've got a good friend of mine, and from originally from California. It's weird how we met, but Finley Chastain's dad is a girl dad too. He and I have been trying to get it going for the last couple of years. I told him about the concept of what I was going to do, and I finally got a chance to get him on. Man, what's going on with you?
no, not much, Kerry. I appreciate it. It has been an event trying to get us both linked up at the same time, but I appreciate you having me on. It's been fun watching you go back and forth with a lot of people I know and hear
Yeah.
the stories. It's been really good.
Oh yeah, I know you know a lot of the people that is there and hear their nuggets, but I knew I had to get you on about your nuggets, man. So let's jump right into it. Do you remember when you first met me and
I
how we
do.
linked
It's
up?
been, we're originally from here. Finley was born here, and then we moved to SoCal and NorCal, and then I think the first time we ever met face to face was during COVID. It was you were wearing a mask, and I think it was a random gym over in McKinney. But yeah, and we've kind of met in a bunch of gyms ever since.
Yeah. And then you called me. You were in California, and you called me,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we linked
we were
up, and
moving
we tried to
here. I was
make it
trying to.
happen.
Yep.
So it's really. And then I ran into you in Tampa Bay at Blue Star 30. Walked right
Yes,
by
sir.
you. Didn't even know who in the hell you were. Well, let's get into it, man. Let's I see Finn. Let's get into it, man, because I know you're busy. So the recruiting process, man. Tell me about it. How's it going? I'm jumping in hot tonight.
All right. There's
Uh,
nothing wrong with getting straight to it.
yeah, the
The
recruiting
recruiting
process.
process, yeah, I think it's a little different for myself and Finley and the family than a lot. We kind of, we're about as hands off, I think, as they come. I know there are a lot of families that are the same way, but, we've, we've kind of just let Finley take it and run with it. And she makes her own decisions, and, made one a few years ago that ended up not working out. So and then she went kind of back to the drawing board, but she's kind of, we'll set guidelines, and her and I talk. I've joked with you, it's more like talking with a 30-year-old than it is talking
Yeah,
to a
we've always said
teenager.
that.
I know. And it's sadly, she's probably more mature than I am in a lot of areas of life, but I'm not sure if that says more about her than it does me or what. But she's done a lot of it on her own, so a lot of the hard questions are best answered by her. But I do have a pretty good perspective from being up close and giving her advice and us talking about it on all our road trips.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that, man. We're gonna get into those road trips, man. So I'm gonna go off script a little bit since you mentioned about her other decision. What was that all about? Committing so early in the eighth grade to Tennessee, and how that didn't work out. Can you give me some details about it, as much as you can, about the Tennessee situation with was it Kelly Harper?
Sure.
So yeah, give me some scoop on that. And I know a lot of people would like to inquire and committing that early. What made you think that you should commit that early?
Well, again, I don't really think much of anything. So Finley does a lot of that on her own. Like I said, I know a lot of people think their kids are mature. We've kind of treated Finley that way for a long time. But she, from the very first call she got in seventh grade, I don't know how much I should share names or whatever, but her very first phone call ever lasted an hour and 20 minutes. I mean, that's how
Drop that one. That was Georgia Tech.
Yeah. Her first visit was Georgia Tech. Her first call was actually Coach Towns, which out at Colorado, and they were on the phone for an hour 20, and they talked about everything from John Elway to Colorado Avalanche hockey, and he asked to speak to me when they were done, and he was giving me all the stuff that they talked about, and Finley really, well, she thinks the world of Coach Towns. But pretty much every phone call they have, I think, lasts over an hour. But that's kind of how we've always treated her. So, when it came to Tennessee, I'll fast forward a little bit. We went out to visit, spent 3 days there. We'd visited probably 8 or 10 schools because even at Finley's age in 7th grade, it was super important for her to meet not just the head coach in person, but the entire staff. She knew that if she was going to be shooting at 11 o'clock at night, it was probably not going to be with the head coach of that particular school. And she wanted to make sure she connected with every coach, on the entire staff. And, so we went out there, spent 3 days over Thanksgiving, and Kelly was the first coach, I think, in person to really understand how Finley saw the game, from a coach's perspective.
Mhm.
And, immediately they were discussing, they had a game coming up with Vatech, who had, Liz Kitley was there, and, her and Kelly were talking about how to go after the 6'6" ACC player of the year. And they didn't have Rakia at the time. And, Finley's like, go small, pull Kitley out, give Jordan Horston some driving lanes. And, they went back and forth. And, I'm not saying that they used everything Finley talked, but as a 7th grader, the way she saw the game, to have a coach see that right away meant a lot to her. It really did.
Yeah. You know what? I mess with her. I always tell her she's an old soul. I always mess with her. I've been knowing Finn for a few years now in the back scene, and I always mess with her, tell her she's an old soul, man. And we already know she's going to be a coach. There's no doubt about it. She's a basketball. That's what she does. And this is what she's born to do. She knows she's wants to coach, and she's a good player. And I'm looking forward to it. So since we're on recruiting, let's stay in that flow, man. What is with the Oklahoma? What made you to commit to Oklahoma? And what made that the perfect place as of right now?
Again, Finley had the ultimate, decision. I think it's amazing for her. And she's loved Coach Jenny for a long time. We got to know her. I think we visited Oklahoma not much after Tennessee, and Finley kind of fell in love with Coach Jenny, for lack of a better term. Not only is she's arguably one of the best young coaches in all of basketball, but the style she plays and the kind of person she is, the way she all the players talk about how well she respects them and they respect her. And then, once the whole Tennessee thing kind of happened with them letting Coach Kelly go, Coach Jenny was one of the first people that Finley reached out to. And again, with the style of play, which I think is one of the things that I don't think most parents probably don't even know enough about. They don't have a chance to watch the college game enough, whether it's time or, honestly,
Yeah.
a lot of parents don't necessarily love basketball. I mean, I just got lucky and my kid fell in love with something that I have a deep knowledge of, but had she picked, I don't know, piano or whatever, I probably would have had to have gotten some help there.
Yeah.
But I don't think people focus enough on style of play to really make a decision. And then you end up with a lot of kids going into the portal because they pick a style that doesn't necessarily fit. But Oklahoma has an amazing style for Finley. You've seen her play. It's all about passing the ball up the floor, not over dribbling, getting people in the right spot, getting that first good shot. And of course they put a premium on great shooters, which just, again, fits her style perfectly.
Well, what happened to Missouri? Kelly was in the picture. You just had felt that Missouri was a fit for her?
She had already pretty much decided on Oklahoma before Coach Kelly made that decision. Okay. Finley hadn't made the official announcement, but we traveled to Oklahoma and spent about 7 hours there, and Finley loves the entire staff. I mean, Coach Marquisha and
Shannon
Tyus.
Gage.
Oh, Shannon and Tyus and Mike and Derek, who's in charge of all the video. I mean, he's amazing. A huge Oklahoma City Thunder fan. I know he was super stressed out going into Game 7.
Yeah.
And you've got Courtney in the office and Coach Nikki, and And then you've got, she really liked Jonas a lot, and then now he moved on, but she was a big fan of Pauline.
Well, he went to what? San Jose State?
Alabama. So, so Pauline just stepped right in, and she was already a big fan of her, you know, knowing some of the people that she did at Alabama. So the whole staff she loves. We spent all day there, and Finley let them know at the end of the day that that was definitely where she wanted to go. She just, you know, wanted that long visit again to confirm it. But then she kind of sat on it for a while because she did what she feels is right. And what I agree with is that she reached out to every single coach that she spent time with on the phone and that offered her, and let them know ahead of time so they didn't find out, you know, on a social media post.
Yeah. That was Aaron Velasco. That was a big thing for him and McKenna, that he felt that that's important too. That shows professionalism, character, and what type of person you are. So, all right, well, good stuff, man. Well, are there any misconceptions people have about the recruiting process? I know you've been through it, and you know basketball. You're diehard hoop mind. So, you know, for some parents out there, are there some misconceptions about recruiting?
There's probably a lot of misconceptions. A lot of people are looking for different things, so it's hard, which has been the great thing about your podcast, by the way, is you hear different stories from different people. Some people, and none of them are right, none of them are wrong, you know, necessarily. It's whatever fits that family. Some people, you know, carry more about NIL. Some people care more about location and staying close to home. Some kids want to get away from home. Like, everybody wants something different. But like I said earlier, I think the one thing that's overlooked by honestly everyone, whether it's, you know, people who evaluate, people who, you know, the families of the players, not necessarily the coaches, because they understand what they're trying to do and who they're trying to fit into a program. You know, Coach Jenny, for example, knows exactly what kind of player she's looking for. But I think a lot of other people overlook the fit. And that's why you see so many kids in the portal every year, is they don't necessarily go where they fit in the best.
Well, you've got to do your homework, and it's really, really essential now, and especially in this roster reconstruction era that we're in, where you can flip a roster really quick. And as a parent, even as a transfer, you've got to do your homework. And a lot of parents don't understand that segment of it. You know, they don't probably have the ability to see all those games, to see those styles, and then they just go by, like what my boy Antonio Davis was saying, don't go by the jersey, the name on the front of the jersey. You've got to do your homework. You got to check out the league, look at the teams that are in that league. Where do you fit? And most of all, go where you're wanted.
Exactly. And that's kind of, you know, I spend a lot of time, as you know, traveling, watching basketball. So I don't really have time to focus on what the next thing I'd like to do in life. But what I really would like to do is, and you do a lot of this as well, I'd like to help people find that fit. I mean, you hear some realtors talk about, they don't really care about what they make on a house, or they just get the joy of matching the right family with the right house. And I would like to take that approach to the recruiting process. And because you and I talked the other day, you know, and I'll use Finley as an example because, you know, I know the strengths and the limitations of my kid. I don't want to talk about someone else's, you know, player and child.
Yeah.
But Finley's been ranked in the last couple of years everywhere from top 5 to in the 50s. And the funny thing is every one of those numbers is right. Just because you're ranked, just pick a number, 18 in the country or whatever you happen to be, that doesn't mean you're the 18th best fit for every program. You know, Finley, for a program like Oklahoma, like we talked, that is an offense that is perfect for her, you know, high IQ, court vision, elite shooting. That's a perfect fit for her from a style wise.
Right.
So, you know, if she were ranked in top 10 or whatever, that would be a perfect spot for her for that style. But if you flip it and go to a more defensive oriented style, again, not that either of these styles are right or wrong. They both lead to a lot of success and a lot of winning, but an Old Miss, for example. In the 50s is probably more right for Finley. And again, so all those numbers that she's had over the last 2 years, the ironic thing is they're all the right number. It just depends on which school you're talking about. And I don't think people look at that enough. They just look at that one number that's by the name and think, okay, this is the 13th best kid in the country. They're a 13th best fit for everyone. And that it just doesn't work that way.
Well, you dropping knowledge, you're understanding me, because we talk a lot about basketball, and I think the evolution of basketball in college, that's where it's at. Like I said, with the roster reconstruction, you have got to make the right hits on these kids, and you got to do. I was talking to Townsend about that up at Colorado State about you really got to get a dossier on the kids. You're gonna have to start doing your homework, and as parents, do your homework. We're dropping knowledge at the Girl Dad Podcast. And I think that and that's, like I said, one of the reasons why I wanted to start the podcast was to be able to help in some capacity, in addition to being around basketball and having the opportunity to stay involved with the game and get young. But also, I didn't even, before the show, I meant to talk about that PSA prostate check for all my girl dads. I want you to go get checked. I got mine. I got my results today, guys, and I'm not happy with it. It came back. I was 4. Maybe a year ago now, jumped up to 6. So get your prostate checked, get your PSA levels checked. And that was just a quick break for Sean and I to make sure that everybody get their prostate checks, because that's a big thing for us guys. And we tend to not want to share our feelings. So that's one thing right there.
No, you're 100% right. Like we've got to be around, and watch them play.
Enjoy basketball.
No, it's exactly right. No, 100%. So that's
okay.
That's super important.
Yeah. I get the PSA notch there. So, hey, prostate people, get on here and give me a sponsorship so I can keep pumping it. But, okay, one more recruiting part, man, I got to get into a little bit.
Sure.
I know all kind of aspects of the game, but, what have you learned wish you knew 2 years ago with Finn and in this whole process? What 2 years? I knew that I had known this.
Yeah, that's actually a tough question. There's not a lot that I wish I would have known. I have to say, it's been an incredible process. I do think that it's great that Finley has driven the entire thing. And I tell a lot of people that I'm just very fortunate to be along for the ride. I mean, I had an 8th grade daughter who, at one point requested a private meeting with an athletic director just to talk about how they viewed the program and everything. And that's not normal. Like most people don't get to witness that. So I've just kind of been along for the ride, and it's been a lot of fun.
I told you, man, she's an old soul, man.
Yeah.
She's an old soul, and she's been here before.
Yes,
I'm messing with her about that. But how are you gonna here's a good one too. I know the relationship you guys have. I know the quality of time that you spent together. What are you going to do when she's gone?
That's a really good question.
I'm like, man, you guys spend way more time than Quincy and I did. Plus, y'all on the road trips. Y'all doing this. You moved her to prep. You moved to Florida. You're in California. I mean, it's like, not only is she your daughter, she's your best friend.
No, it's fun. I mean, and you mentioned it, but we're taking off. I don't know what's today, the 2nd. We're taking off in 3 days for our annual 30-day July road trip. And we'll drive to Run for the Roses, watch a couple days. Then she'll play in Ohio. We'll drive to South Carolina. The only thing we don't do anymore is they shorten that window, so we don't have a chance to fly to Vegas and watch Summer League in between the 3rd and the 4th viewing session anymore. So that's kind of disappointing, but
you got to classify that NBA Summer League.
NBA Summer League. Yeah. We go out there.
I'm going to throw you a nugget. Don't get mad at me. I'm going to do that this year. I'm watching some if I can get over there, because I'm over in Nike in Vegas.
Yeah.
And Allen Iverson is putting on an event. And for some reason, I got blessed with somebody else who connected me with it. So I'm going to be over in Vegas for a few days. I'm going to hit I'm not sure if I can get over to the games because of Nike games. I can't just spread myself that thin, but I am going to be hanging out with a lot of summer league guys, man, doing that thing, man.
No,
So,
we'll both be super jealous. We did that every year up until they
well, you
shut
got. I thought
down.
you'd have a mobile home or something with a big old mobile home traveling all over the country like that.
No, it's good. I mean, she still swears that she's calling every night and going to do the. There's a little grid called NBA crossover where you have to name a player that's say played for the Kings and the Rockets both.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
We do
You
that
know
every
that puzzle
day.
I gave her. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I dropped that book on her. I gave and I gave Mike at Oklahoma State one, and I gave Jazz Incarnate one because they were pretty darn good at it. So I said, you know what? Y'all pretty good at this basketball crossword puzzle. So y'all can come on in. I dropped it on them. Both of them were so appreciative. I said, when you're in the airport, sit here and quiz me. And I said, I know if you really want to quiz somebody, call Finley Chastain. And
I remember when she told you she knew all the NFL quarterbacks and you quizzed her and she got them all.
Did I?
I think she surprised you a little bit.
Well, good stuff, man. We're keeping it moving, man. It's a great interview, man. I enjoyed it. But tell me this, man. How do you check in on Finley's mental health through all of this? Because there was a time, we talked about it off mic, and I wanted to bring it up a little bit. How do you check her mental health? And that's for all players and dads, girl dads out there.
It's really important. And Finley's one of the few things that she hasn't made easy is she's not very emotional. She literally is the kind of kid that can hit I've seen her hit a 3 at the buzzer to put a game to overtime before, and it's been a couple years ago, and I watched her literally walk straight to center court and wait for the tip off for overtime, like no emotion. So when things when things are going good, there's no emotion, but the downside is, when things are going bad, there's none either. And we've started talking more. She had a lot of stuff boil. It's been a tough last.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. Yeah, with the injuries, few injuries there, and she's in recovery. And I messed with her. It was one time, I like to joke with Finn, and I'm like, man, Finn, you're starting to be like Tracy McGrady. You only playing 52 games this year. What's up with that?
No, it's funny. She spent her whole life. I mean, she played boys growing up, didn't play girls till 7th grade. And she's probably been dunked on 100 times. And she had one injury her whole life. And then about a year and a half ago, she had a great session 1 last year. And then suddenly her knee started bothering her and it was misdiagnosed twice. And then she ended up completely tearing her meniscus. So she went over 8 months without using her legs at all. No practice, no shooting, no games. That
was tough on her.
It was a really tough 8 months. She had to watch their team lose the Adidas championship in overtime last year, and she's coaching on the bench. She apologized to Coach Katie, who, if Coach Katie sees this, shout out to her. Finley thinks the world of her, almost like a second mom. And Finley was in tears, and she apologized for not being out there, being able to help. And then that kind of rolled into high school, and she missed 8 solid months to the point where she probably knew she shouldn't be coming back, but she was told by the doctor she couldn't hurt it anymore. She was just going to be, way out of basketball shape. So she came back in December after 8 months of doing nothing, with no practice time, no warm up time. 3 days after she was cleared to have contact, she was flying to Utah to play a high school game, and then the Bahamas. And I think it was just as difficult for her to be on the court playing against the Montverdes of the world, and her legs.
We got to touch bases on that real quick. Yeah. So keep that thought.
Yeah. But she was playing against, because we didn't have a regular high school season last year. So she's out there playing against all her friends from all the academies across the country, and her legs aren't working like she expected them to. And she didn't really start feeling like herself until probably a month ago. And she's happy, but it was a long time off the court. And I think it was equally frustrating for her on the court to not be able to do what she used to do. And it kind of all came to a head, and she talked to some people, and it was really good for her to get it out, which she'd never done before. And I just think it's good for every kid, and even an adult, it's good to just sit down every once in a while, and whether it's have a cry. I know most guys don't want to talk about that kind
Yeah.
of thing, but
Dude, I
just
need
let the
mental health.
emotions out.
I
Yeah,
need that, Sean. I need to
yeah,
be having the right people in my circle where I can expose myself and be vulnerable and not them use that against me. It's so hard to find that. So I understand that part. But one more basketball question about her, and then we're going to jump into a couple more
sure.
questions, and then we're going to land this plane. The Mount Verde situation. What do you think about prep school, high school right now? And I know every kid's different ways, every kid's situation is different. And the other place where you were at, Christ Fellowship, am I pronouncing their
Yeah,
name
faith
right?
family. Yeah,
Faith
yeah.
Family. Let's
Um,
talk about that real quick because a lot of people want to know, and then you can help some parents out in their decision whether they want to go prep, Faith Family, just stay at your high school and take what you get.
Yeah, I would love to. I get a lot of. I know a lot of the dads that you've talked to. I see them talking to a lot of people at the gyms. I know they get asked like I do. They're on the phone a lot trying to give advice. And I would love to talk to anybody in person about, because I do think it's a personal decision. Finley, most kids that go to prep schools don't do it until later in life. Once they've gone through the first couple of years of high school. Finley was looking at it kind of reverse. She was looking for a place where she is so basketball driven that she just wanted to be able to play basketball all day, train, and be around people who viewed the game the same way she did. You've teased her a lot about finding stuff to do off the court, and her
I
thing to do
mess with
off
her
the
about
court is
that.
to watch Synergy or
Go
and
bowling or something.
so
Get a
she was
hobby.
just. I've tried to get her to do other things, and it's her escape from playing is coaching. Like that's just.
Yeah.
So she wanted to go be around more people that kind of viewed the game the same way, and there's good and bad. I mean, it's a great experience. You got to play a great competition. I mean, they won a national championship, for crying out loud, which you don't usually get to do it at any age, but certainly not as a freshman to be, a fairly significant part of something like that. And she got to play with some great players, Jelani Cambridge at Ohio State now, and Vivi Wachuku. I mean, there's so many good players that she got to play with, and Coach Shoemake, who's at Grand Canyon now, she really enjoyed Coach Shoemake a lot. The experience was good. It just we had to come back to Texas for family reasons because her mom Heather had to work out of Dallas, and she was only able to see her maybe 1 week a month, which Finley doesn't let on like it was a big deal, but I know it had to be because every kid wants to be around their parents, or most of them do at least. So, it was a great year. We had to find our way back here. And so we relocated back here so we could all kind of be together again.
Got you. All right. Well, good stuff, man. I just had to tap into that, and I didn't want to get into a lot of details, and we don't have to get into the fake family situation
Oh,
either.
and
We
even
don't.
that, yeah, I
No.
mean, the
I,
whole point, Finley had kind of decided after that 1 year that, the girls, at a lot of these prep schools, they don't necessarily want to spend all day in the gym. I mean, a lot of them do. A lot of them are elite, but a lot of them are just more talented versions of girls that are in public school. I mean, they don't necessarily want to go shoot all day, and they want to have lives out outside of the court, which that's actually normal. And Finley realized that it's just kind of a glorified version of regular high school. So when we
yeah.
moved back here, her whole goal was to just go to a regular school, play on a Tuesday and a Friday night, which was kind of the advice that a lot of the college coaches that she talked to had given her, like just be a normal kid. And when she signed up to go to Faith Family, she was going to go there and play with Amaya Garcia, and it wasn't really anybody's fault. Just it was a great opportunity, and people started coming, and then it got attention, and it went from being a regular high school, which was kind of the plan for everyone, to what it turned into. And again, it was no one's fault. It just all these things kind of rolled into one, and the ball just didn't stop rolling, and then UIL got involved, and it became a way bigger thing than than was originally intended. And
Gotcha.
Like I said, she didn't blame anyone. She just really wanted to play on Tuesdays and Fridays and just be a normal high school kid. And that, and Faith Family, they're going national. We did last year, and they have an amazing schedule coming up this year. And that's the path that they are now continuing down. And like I said, Finley has had so many coaches and people like yourself that told her, just go to high school, be a kid. So
you don't get that back. You don't get the prom back. You don't get grad night back. You don't get all those fun things of high school back.
No, you're exactly
I
right.
missed it, some of the stuff as a player, as basketball players, and I try to give that up. But well, let's do this, man. Let's get ready to land this plane, because you and I talk basketball all night. There's no doubt that we will. Let's talk two things, and I'm gonna let you go. How have you grown as a father through Finley's transition, through Finley's basketball journey? How have you grown as a girl?
I think a lot of dads think I've always thought of myself as a pretty calm, hands off, but I was probably more hands on early than maybe I should have been. I've become even more calm lately, but honestly, from the beginning, I've never tried to coach her. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of people find a lot of success in coaching their own kid. I didn't want that dynamic. I had a lot of basketball knowledge. I just didn't want that friction. And with her being as driven as she was, I was able to kind of coach her along by going to watch summer league. And then I'll be like, hey, did you see this guy do that? Or she would be like, hey, this guy just did a back cut or whatever. Like at 7 years old, she's, we're discussing it as we watch it. And that was a great way to kind of coach without coaching, without that conflict.
Yeah.
But even then, you sometimes get involved too much, or maybe in some cases of mature kids like Finley, maybe you don't get involved enough, and you maybe should steer a little more. But I really don't think I would change anything, to be honest.
All right.
I've always considered it my job to just find the right people. I do a lot of research with trainers or whatever, and once I do, I get out of the way and I just sit and watch.
Did you Google me?
Yes, of course. Everyone Googles you. Are you kidding?
Nah. All right. Well, good stuff, man. I appreciate you, man. The last question, man, and it's my nuggets, the signature question for the Girl Dad podcast. If there's anything for these guys that you can give, and there's been some guys giving some good nuggets, what would you do to give these guys? What would you say to give these girl dads who's on your journey or trying to get to your journey? What would you tell them?
I've already shared a lot of things, whether it's the recruiting with the style and that kind of thing. But I think just asking people advice and help is never a bad thing. I mean, I'm the first to admit I don't know everything, and I've learned some stuff from watching, whether it's Aaron or George or Haskell, or I've become pretty good friends with Trenton Hassel. Like, I know all of these gentlemen one way or another, and I've picked up stuff from all of them.
Yeah. And, Trenton was on the show.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And I'll see Trenton again next week. We've gotten to be pretty close, and amazing family, if I can just plug that real quick, but they're just good people.
No, for sure.
But I think just asking people advice. I have a lot of people that do that with me, but I think sometimes the ego gets in the way and you don't want to seem like you don't have all the answers. And I think it's okay if your kid doesn't know you have all the answers. It's good to know that you need to ask for help every once in a while.
Ask for help, guys. Ask for help. Girl dads, don't be afraid to ask for help. I don't know everything. Sean doesn't know everything. Haskell doesn't know everything, but learn from some of the mistakes that we did make, so that you don't have to make them. Man, thanks a lot for coming on the show. I appreciate you doing it, man. And everybody, visit the girldadpodcast.com on all of our social medias with Facebook, IG, Instagram. And I don't know this stuff. I have to learn it. So visit us there. The show is hot. It's got some really good content. So don't forget to visit us there. And girl dads, get your prostate checked. Mark Wilson, I love you. I know you're going through something. You lost your wife last week, and I meant to mention that. Mark, if you're watching the show, I love you, man. Hey, I'm here for you. Anytime you need me, man. I know your wife of 25 years you lost, or more. So hang in there, brother. I love you.
Thanks a lot, Kerry. I really appreciate it.
Nah, good